if you really think about it, we are literally nothing. We are so insignificant. But
words of motivation.
In the grand scheme of things, we're so insignificant to think that we're the center of the universe. People are scared of aliens. People are scared of what they could do.
That's the thing. Is the government trying to protect us and prevent us from going into like a world scare pandemic, or is the government actually trying to hide stuff that is vital information to us humans?
That's it. My guilty pleasure, guys. It's The Bachelor. I'm addicted.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel a bit better about my own love life, to be honest. Joey, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Taking It Easy podcast. Now, today it is just me and Pat, but that's okay because we have some topics that we're going to be discussing today, which is going to be very interesting, and we hope you all enjoy it. Pat, good morning. How you doing, bro?
I'm ready for another cheeky episode. People have been wanting to see more of these like little Q&As, kind of just like me and you kind of stuff.
That's very true.
We've had some amazing guests on, but I think it's time we just have just us two and we have a bit of a chat.
I think so. I think that'll be definitely good. We have some fan questions as well that you guys have want us to talk about a little bit. And then in the later part, we'll get into some conspiracy theories.
A new little segment.
Exactly right. So it's going to be interesting, but we hope you guys enjoy this episode. And Pat, why don't you take us away with a couple of the fan questions?
Okay. All right. Our first fan question is from Jason, and he says, there's a zombie apocalypse. You get 3 things to take. What are you taking and where are you hiding?
Zombie apocalypse.
It's a classic. It's a classic question, but it's really, really interesting. I love it.
I don't know if it's just me, but I've always, at nighttime in my room when I'm by myself, like I'll think about it, and I'll think about different situations. Like, imagine me saving the school from a school shooting.
Bro, we've all thought that. We've all thought that straight up.
I know that all the boys have definitely thought those things. Like, imagine going over to the military and like fighting in a war with the boys. Like, I've definitely thought about all those things, dude.
Being the hero.
But no, that's it. But zombie apocalypse. Like there's so many, like you got Zombieland and all these movies that I think people like them because that's what they would do, kind of thing. Yeah. I feel like if there were 3 things I was going to take in a zombie apocalypse, it would definitely have to be a double pump shotgun. Had to get that XP. You know what I'm saying? So I'd have to say a double pump shotgun. I'd probably go steal a bus and then mod up the bus with like spears and barbed wire and everything on the sides.
Bro,
so I could
you're going to be catching zombies, bro. You were going to be catching them.
Literally, I can literally mow down the zombies and everything like that. What would be a third thing?
That's a pretty interesting item to ask for. Is like, that's the thing. Does it count as multiple items or just one? Because you got a bus, but the bus is equipped with a load of different shit. The bus is modded
up, I guess. True.
Bro, you've leveled up the bus. Right.
I've leveled up the bus. It's a level 100 bus, literally. But what third item? What would I have for the third item? There's so many things I could take.
Let's just say that food and water is a given, and you have food and water. Yeah.
All right. Food and water is a given. I would take a friend or a girl. I'd take some company. To be honest,
a girl, A girl.
She gets a little bit lonely in a zombie apocalypse. You know what I'm saying?
You got to keep her warm, bro.
That's it. And I've actually thought about this. Where I would go to hide, right? I've thought about this in-depthly.
Okay.
I would go into Sydney Eye Tower, go to the top of Sydney Eye Tower.
It's quite specific as well.
Lock down the elevators, stay up in Sydney Eye Tower. It's got a restaurant up there. It's got great views of the whole of Sydney and you can see everything.
Mate, you're going to run out of food eventually.
No. Just listen, just wait. So I'd go up there, lock all the elevators, and then when I'm feeling in boss mode and have everything equipped, I'd unlock the elevators, go down to my bus, and then go over to like a Woolies or a Coles with my double pump shotgun and my partner. And we just go get food and then go back to Sydney Eye Tower and just kick back.
But this is my problem with that. Okay, so if we're thinking zombie apocalypse, I'm trying to think long term, okay? You're going to have to harvest your own food.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just go to Woolies and Coles...
farm?
Mate, I'm literally starting up my own farm. Bro,
Pat, what about you? What 3 items are you taking and we staying?
I think just realistically, the best place to stay is high ground. I think you need high ground because you can see what's below you and like, it's pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? You're not going to fucking be in a hut. You know what I mean? You want to have high ground so you can see what's below you. That's
I have the higher ground.
I have the higher ground.
Sorry, Star Wars reference.
You know, I haven't even seen Star Wars, but I'm just trying to fit in right now.
Abysmal, bro.
Abysmal. I think you definitely need a mode of transport. And for me, that's got to be like something big, like a big 4x4, like a Toyota Prado or something. You know what I mean?
No, one of those like American Ram trucks. You know the Rams,
Yes.
like the huge ones. One of those,
Bro, those big Dodgers or something like that.
Yeah.
100%, bro. My choice of weapon would probably be a submachine gun.
Ooh,
I'm more
true.
looking for those like spray and prays rather than those big hits. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm looking for the headshots, bro.
Bro, man just wants that XP.
Mate, that's it.
If it doesn't count as an item, but the boys, bro,
Yeah,
the boys. That's all you need. The last thing.
It would be so fun in a zombie apocalypse with all the boys.
The thing is, you say that, but as soon as you're in there, you're all shitting bricks.
Yes, until it'd be so fun, and then Marcus would be the first one to get eaten by a zombie.
And everybody knows who Marcus is now, so they understand the reference.
That's it. No, that's it. No, I mean, but where are you staying? Where are you going to stay?
Okay, that's the thing, right? Because if I'm asking to have high ground and make my own farm, I'm going to have to build this place, right? So
What, you're going to have time to build a house
I won't.
in a zombie apocalypse?
I won't. That's the thing. So inevitably, I'll probably just have to end up staying at some crib that is on like, I don't know, fucking 20,000 square meters, and I can harvest my own potatoes and have enough high ground.
Pat's going to be a nomadic person.
I'm going to be a nomadic person. Yeah.
Pat's just going to be on the move.
Rowan and I were talking about this the other day. We just says nomadic people. It's like his favorite phrase.
No, it was. I remember it was year 10 history with Miss Foster, and we were discussing, like the origins of Aboriginals.
Yeah.
And how they were nomadic people and they were always moving around the land.
Yeah.
And since then, I don't know, I just love the word nomadic and I just use it all the time.
We love it. All right, next question. David sent it in. He says, thoughts on politics within sport? In Australia, basketball, soccer, etc. So I think you have a lot to say on this as well because you've played at the high level. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of a given with any sport, there's going to be politics, whether that be with coaching staff or, with the players kind of thing. I know I've played at, a pretty high level for a lot of sports, whether that be water polo or basketball. I played at, state levels for both, especially with basketball because it's such a big sport in Australia and America and around the world. And to think that in the NBA,
400
the best players
right?
in the world, there's only 400 players. Exactly right.
Crazy.
But I know that with my experience, so obviously I grew up and lived in Canberra, so that's where I started playing basketball. And then I moved up to Sydney in year 6 and was playing basketball there. And when I went out to try out for a rep team, all the players who have been playing there since they were 6, 7, who knew all the coaching staff, who knew all the big coaches, who knew all the CEOs of the company and stuff, that they would all get picked. And so for me, it was like a kid from Canberra who knew absolutely no one in the club or the industry. No one really looks like if you're not like the most skilled player or person on the court, then it's very hard. So I'd probably say it's about 50-50 to be honest.
Yeah.
If you want to go places in whatever sport, you need to know people. You need to have those connections. And so in my experience, that's definitely been what it's like. You need to know certain people to be able to get 100%. Certain places, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think it varies from sport to sport. Like, I don't know, Ron, would you agree that, because obviously you played water polo at a high level as well.
Yeah.
Compared to basketball, do you think that's a little bit less political because it's more of like a family-orientated, smaller sport?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's one of the main things, those bigger sports like soccer, basketball, rugby, everything like that. Because it's such a big sport and so many people play it, I think that the politics surrounding that is so much more. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of pressure for those clubs and certain players to do good. Like you have, Sam Walker, 18, in the NRL, who else you have in the NRL?
Plenty of young players.
Joseph Manu, players like that, which is super young, who know a lot of people. They've been playing footy for a long time, who know a lot of people.
Yeah.
But say there's like a decent player that no one's really heard of, blah blah blah, and he doesn't know anyone. Well, he's not going to go that far. But like you said, with water polo, it's a smaller sport, so everyone knows each other. So there's not a lot of politics. If you're a good player, people will see. So yeah, I think with the bigger sports, politics is more of an issue. If you don't know anyone, if you know people, then it's not so much of an issue. But if you don't know people, that's where the issue comes into play.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, I obviously haven't played like as high level as you. My highest level was like cricket, and I've seen it firsthand that if you know people, you're 10 times more likely to pick. Like at the end of the day, I know what you mean. Like, talent will override politics, but if there's like a small gap between skill level, they're always going to take the person who they know rather than the newbie. You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like with cricket or soccer, what you play.
Yeah. I mean, soccer is 100% political. I've never played it because I only started playing soccer late, right? So I never really grew up with it. Cricket, growing up and going to play, state comps and all that stuff. Like, I realize how political it is and how competitive it is, right? To actually break through. So, it's one of those sports that you got to know people 100%. And at the end of the day, right, I'm not going to say that politics is the be all and end all, because it isn't. Your performance will get you into the big teams at the end of the day. But especially at that young age, kind of to break through and get your name out there, you got to be kind of known nowadays, which sucks.
Well, I mean, like, it doesn't take, and like Pat and I aren't saying like don't try hard. If you do want to get to know people and more coaches and get your name out there, work hard. Like in the off season, on weekends, when your team's not training, you train yourself, and then all that hard work and effort you put on outside of the court, it'll be seen on the court. That's happened with me. I've been training for a long time. I'd probably say 3/4 of my life I've had trainings, and it shows. It pays off. I know it sucks in the moment trying to train like either like your non-dominant hand or your non-dominant foot, or trying to beat a personal best. It sucks in the moment, but if you keep training and working hard, then you'll start to be noticed and start to climb up on those chains. So Pat and I aren't saying it's the be all and end all, but keep working hard, keep pushing, keep setting the goals for yourself, because if you keep setting the goals for yourself, then other people will notice them immensely.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. I think that's a good question. It's very relevant as well. Yeah,
it is very relevant. It really is.
Yeah.
What do we got next? What
have you got next? You told me you had one that I didn't. I don't have. What was that?
No, one of my friends, my basketball friend actually, Angus, he sent in a question on Snapchat, so just to get up real quick. So Angus, shout out to Angus, a beast of a basketball player. He said, the role of social media and how it influences people's opinions.
Immensely. Huge.
That is so relevant, I think, in our society.
It's fucked, because you wonder how many people have PhDs, especially at the moment. Like, they'll come out with stuff, and it's like, especially right now with COVID, right? Facebook, Instagram, young people, like, we're sponges taking in information, right? They'll see something, they're way more likely to believe it. But the problem is, the people putting out all these things, like, they're not reputable. Then they don't have a PhD. They're not qualified. And if they are, 99% of the time, people don't see that sort of stuff. You only see I remember we talked about it with like Neil and stuff, the effect of like alternative media on people's opinions. It's absurd. It's huge, because we always are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And people use that as like their primary news source, which to me is just like, why?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know I've had a plethora of conversations,
That's another word you love, plethora.
That's it. That's what got me the marks in the HSC.
The essay savior.
That's right. If any HSC students, plethora or myriad, use those words. They'll get you good marks. I've talked to so many girls.
Have you?
No, like I'm not. Fuck's sake. No, but like I've talked to so many girls where, we're talking about like something interesting, something relevant, and they'll be like, oh, like I saw this on TikTok, and then they start telling me information. I'm like,
right, TikTok is a news source now. Oh my God.
As soon as they say, oh, I saw it on TikTok, I just stop listening. Like, it's on TikTok. The amount of shit's on TikTok, it's just not reliable at all. There's just it's bullshit central. And I deleted TikTok because it's very addictive and it's very bad. There's so many things on there that I feel like, because you could scroll forever and it'll never end.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people get sucked in, and people believe the things they see on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and it's like, you have no idea who's writing this. Sure, they might have 100,000 followers or subscribers, but I mean, that's their own opinion, so you're listening to another individual's opinion and not the facts, kind of thing, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think, as you stated in the podcast with Neil, everybody wants to get to things first, and everybody wants attention nowadays. And that's what these platforms do, because they give people an opportunity where there's a lot of people using the app to kind of get their opinion out there. And that's the thing. People often wrongly interpret these things and actually like think it's a legit thing. And it's not. Like, it frustrates me. And I'm not saying like, everything that people put out there is wrong and stupid. I'm just saying, like, people want the attention. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, in our society, it's, if you read the news, you're misinformed. But then if you don't read the news, you're uninformed. And, it's just kind of like...
I think it's important to get both perspectives, 100%.
Yeah,
and
always.
people can choose what they want to believe. Like, there's nothing to do with like freedom of belief. But what I'm saying is, don't strictly get your news source from one thing, because it's just not reputable.
Like, people, I definitely know, like, older people, I'm sure the people listening know it as well. Like, your dads, your mums, your uncles, your aunties, your grandparents, they all have very, their own beliefs, their own people they listen to, whether that be right wing, left wing,
for sure,
or in the middle. So they've been around for a lot longer than us.
They've established their opinions.
They've established their opinions and what they believe in and what they think's right and wrong. But for younger people like us, just getting all this information and trying to, decipher what's truthful, what's not, if this is right, if this is wrong. Nowadays you have extremists in the right wing. I was watching telly last night. I was watching the footy, and then an ad came on for 60 minutes where they were discussing the Nazis in Australia and all that kind of stuff. So it has the extreme right wing, but then you also have the extreme left wing as well. And it's very hard for young people in society to kind of have a balanced opinion when they get so much of everything to choose. Oh well, shit. Like, I agree with some of this stuff that the rights are saying, but then I also agree with some of this, and then getting this information from Facebook, and I saw this article, and I read this, and I listened to that podcast, and my nan said this, or my dad said this, and I heard my uncle. It's in a time where there's so much information, and I feel like us young people are getting absolutely drowned in it. Because I know,
100%.
Neil was saying back when he was a kid, they had half an hour of TV news every day, and people would get their information from the newspaper, from reliable news sources. And now it's just, you can get information.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't have to go through a publishing process or anything. It's just like, okay, I can make it and get it out there straight away. So yeah, that's my problem with it. But I'm not having a go at people, older people, and who've established their opinions. You're not going to be able to change that. But us young people, always taking in new information, and you've got so many choices. You got to ask questions of if it's reliable or not. It's at the end of the day, it's a person's choice if they want to believe what they see. But my problem is people seeing so much fake news and really tapping into that, because it is reflecting in these hard times as well. Yeah.
Yeah, 100. And sometimes I think, I was like, damn, like I wish I could have lived in the 1950s or 60s, when it was just you'd go to work, you'd go to the fair on the weekend. There's no social media.
For me, it's the 80s and 90s. The 80s and 90s were. Yeah,
man. Like, there was none of this, social media stuff, like drowning people in information. People just, living in the moment. They're not. I mean, like, people nowadays, like, they're living through a lens, everyone's looking through the camera, no one's living in the moment, kind of thing. It's like, sometimes I think, damn, like, wouldn't it be nice to have lived when my parents grew up? Like, I know some of my dad's siblings, they always talk to me about, like, I remember when I was 6 or 7, after school we'd come back home and we'd literally go out and play in the trees or in parks until nighttime and then come home for dinner. I'm like, well, damn, what do people nowadays do? They come home and they get on Netflix, or they get on the phone, or they do TikTok dances, No one's really out and about anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying there's like necessarily a bad thing, people doing that. It's more just what's happened to us actually, seeing the world around us. Like, I mean, the other day, Rowan and I, we just went to like the park where the river was or whatever and just skimmed some pebbles. And it was like, just for 15 minutes, that was so fun. And then you climbed up a tree or whatever. And it's just like, going back to us being nomadic people, you know what I mean?
I mean, I climbed the tree. You struggled a little bit.
I struggled to climb the tree. I think you actually have the video.
Yeah, I've got the video. We can put it in. But no, I mean, it's just everyone's living through a screen at the moment. And I think there's nothing wrong with having a phone or watching Netflix, but it's just about having a balance, And I think that as human beings, we're not meant to have phones. It's an external source of entertainment, like you see. Like I think the 70s and 80s was the best time to be a kid. I know there's a new TV show out called I think it's like Who's the Best Generation, and they go through the generations of like Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and they discuss like which childhood was the best. And bro, I'd probably say 70s and 80s, man, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, everything has their pros and cons, right? Because we look at how far like we've come progressively, like in terms of equality, like with men and women, and like racial stuff, you know what I mean? All these movements and stuff. Yeah, we've made movements 100% over the past 30, 40, 50 years. But then again, this whole social media movement, I think it's kind of blown way out of proportion with people using their phones and stuff. Like people's screen time and stuff, 8+ hours a day. And you got to think like that's quite literally more than half of your day spending through a lens. And what happens to just like walking and breathing the fresh air outside and interacting with other people? Because that's what, as humans, that's all we crave, social interaction. And I feel like as time goes by, people are more and more losing sight of actual social interaction and kind of just living life through a lens. And I mean, as you said, man, I mean that's not healthy. You got to go outside and just live. That's all I can really say. But balance is good though, of course, because I'm not saying social media and everything's bad. Like it's amazing that we can just call up somebody from overseas, in an instant. Like I find that really interesting. But balance is important, and with all these new things coming out, we're always trying to apps always trying to get us to keep using everything and stuff like that. Always trying to get our attention. It's not healthy in my opinion to be using it way too much like that.
I agree totally. And I mean, I feel like if we're gonna if you guys are gonna take one thing from that question, which was a great question, actually, really good question, it would be balance. Have a balance of the time you spend on your phone versus the time you spend outside, or catch up with friends. Like me and Pat, before lockdown, we'd all go out to the footy field. We'd all put our phones down. We'd all just have a kick of the footy, have a bit of a laugh, have a bit of a game. Pat and I, and a couple of the boys, we go on runs once, twice a week, no phones. We just run in a group.
At night, around the water.
Exactly. Just have that balance, because if you get sucked in, then it's bad for your mental health. Yeah,
100%. We got one more question before we go into the next little segment, the conspiracy theory segment.
That's it.
We've got Jason saying, any motivational words for people going through mental illnesses, mental toughness problems at the moment right now. And it's very relevant, I know, for people listening and watching in Australia, because obviously we're in the middle of a lockdown here. We have been for the past month and a bit, and it's looking like it's going to be that way till probably October. So loneliness is a massive problem, and lockdown obviously doesn't help with that, because as I said, humans crave social interaction. So what would you kind of give advice to people right now who are struggling?
It's at the moment it's very tough with the lockdown, especially because with this lockdown there's been a massive rise in suicides, depression, anxiety, mental health, and it's a very hard time for everyone to be at home. And like you said, we're a very social species. We need to interact with people. We need to go out and see people and try new things and everything like that. So with the lockdown, I'm in the same boat, and everyone is. It's so hard. It's very tough and mentally straining as well. But I mean, the best thing you can do is what I'm doing at the moment. Every day I'm going out for a bit of exercise, a couple of hours of exercise every single day. Being in nature, trying not to be on my phone as much, because I know being at home The cupboard is very tempting. The fridge is right there. The telly and the couch is next to me. I have my bed. Everything is so convenient for comfortability at home. You can get stuck in a rut of, if you're still working, you roll out of bed and hop on the laptop, or you roll out of bed to go on the couch and watch Netflix.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing that people can do is, try create a routine for yourself. So, maybe be like, oh, okay, for the next week, I'm going to decide to get up at 7:30 and go for a walk first thing in the morning. And I'm not going to touch my phone till I get back from that walk. And then after that, I'm going to make some breakfast, and I'm going to sit down and maybe do some uni work, or go to work, or maybe watch a bit of telly. Have a schedule for yourself, because then it keeps your mind set on certain goals and things that you have to do, rather than kind of moping around thinking, oh shit, maybe I'll watch another episode.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do for the rest of today? So I think, even though everyone's going through a challenging time with mental health, I think the best thing you can do, if you have depression or anxiety or going through mental health, set yourself a little schedule. Go out and get some exercise twice a day. Do a workout, even if you don't have any weights. Do some push-ups, sit-ups, do a core workout. But I genuinely think that it helps so much with mental clarity and mental health to be able to exercise, have a schedule, and eat well. Your body's your temple. Treat yourself well,
100%,
and stay in contact with friends and family, because they're the most important thing. I know we had a big family FaceTime the other night for my little cousin's birthday, and Pat and I were always having a FaceTime every day, and stay in contact with the people you care about, because they care about you. But that'd be my advice. Give yourself a little schedule and exercise.
100%. I can speak from that firsthand. Like, structure is so important in this time. It's so easy, as you said, to get into a rut and like, what do I do next? Well, we all fall into the comfort zone, right? And when you're at home, that is the comfort zone, right?
Exactly.
So I guess is what I would say is try new things. I know it's not easy at the moment to do many things, but give yourself a little challenge, because the feeling you get afterwards is second to none, and you're going to feel really, really proud of yourself if you achieve something during such a hard time to achieve something like that. I guarantee you there's so many things that you can do right now that you would have never thought. Like, you might have a guitar sing in your room, teach yourself how to play a song or something like that. You know what I mean? Just set yourself small goals, and I feel like that's what I've been doing recently, because I've found myself really struggling in lockdown. Set yourself a little bit of structure in your life. Because structure is incredibly valuable. Don't follow it religiously, like at 7:39 I'm gonna go walk to the cupboard and it's gonna take 20 seconds and I'm gonna eat this and that. No, don't do that. Just set yourself like a little stimulus, and like, I'm gonna exercise, go for a walk for an hour today, or I'm gonna spend 20 minutes playing guitar, or so on and so forth, because it's so easy to fall into the comfort zone of what we'd usually do, and by the time we come out of lockdown, that could well and truly kind of just be ingrained in your body, and you won't want to go out and do anything and try new things. So it's important to keep your mind busy. I feel like that's the most important thing, because as soon as we start overthinking and we start kind of getting into this rut and comfort zone, that's when it starts to affect our mental health for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've both raised some great points. Yourself and myself, we've all gone through little mental challenges, and being like not seeing certain people, not being able to go out.
Don't think that Rowan and I haven't struggled. We have struggled like incredibly hard. But
we have, and I know we're giving advice to people who are maybe struggling, but Pat and I, we've struggled. Everyone's struggled, and with the lockdown, like it's frustrating, because we're getting new rules like every second day. There's a curfew now, you have to wear a mask wherever you go. It's always changing, and so when everything's always changing, I set yourself that little schedule and those little things you can do. Like Pat said, if you have a guitar, pick it up and learn a song, or maybe try some juggling. Yeah. Try cooking. Yeah. Try cook something fun. Try cook a shepherd's pie, or a beautiful steak, or a roast lamb. Yeah. Try something different.
It's funny, like, people think, I'm in lockdown, I can't do anything, but there actually is so many things that you can do. Like, okay, a lot of things are out of our control and we just have to accept that, but there is still plenty of things that you can do. So make the most of that, I guess, is what Rowan and I are saying, and never be afraid to reach out. Like, exactly. Rowan and I, our emails are always open, our DMs are always open, and we love hearing you guys' questions. We just want to help you.
And out. I mean, in a time with so much technology as well, I know a couple of weeks ago, me, Pat, and all the boys, we had a little game night. I set up a quiz, a scribble game, a couple of games, and we were all on Zoom together. So you know, as much as we have so much technology that we can optimize and use, you know, to our advantage. Just you have a Zoom. Everyone has Zoom at the moment because everyone's working. Everyone needs it for uni or blah blah. Everyone has Zoom, Discord, FaceTime. You know, I know that it's not too hard to set up a game or a little games night for everyone, or even just like a little drinks catch up, or even if you guys, you know, someone streams a movie on their laptop and everyone shares a screen and watch it. You know,
Rowan's doing that with you're doing that with The Bachelor at the moment.
Oh my goodness, The Bachelor. Yeah,
a guilty pleasure.
That's it, my guilty pleasure, guys. It's The Bachelor. I'm addicted.
Yeah,
it just makes me feel a bit better about my own love life, to be honest.
I'm on the Formula One Drive to Survive at the moment. You got me onto that.
That's it. Yeah. I got you onto that. It's a great show. If you guys haven't watched it, watch it. It's really good.
Yeah.
But that was a really good question. I think it's relevant for both of us, and I think everyone in New South Wales and Victoria especially.
Yeah. 100%. All right, guys. Well, welcome to our new segment. We don't really have a name for it yet, but we're going to be discussing 3 conspiracy theories, and we're going to be ranking them from which is the most bullshit to which could be the most true. So, let's get the conspiracies up. We can discuss them all separately. A good one I found.
Oh, here we go.
COVID-19 for population control. I just want to read underneath what it says here.
Here we go.
Apparently, the vaccine implants a microchip used to track people. The fatality rate has been widely inflated. Oh, and Bill Gates is not responsible for the virus, but also the head of the plot to use the virus as population control. So Bill Gates, a dodgy fellow, is he?
I mean, he might be rich, but he's no, I'm joking. So it's kind of, COVID's one of those tricky things that, like we were saying with the media, I've heard so much, it came out of a lab in China. Oh, wait, no, in Borat, it came out of Kazakhstan. Oh, no, it came out of a US lab trying to infect the world, I've heard, all these different things, but for me, COVID, I don't know whether it was made in a lab or whether it just was made naturally or whether China shot a missile out in their own country and infected everyone.
But population control is a completely different topic. It's like
But to be honest, if you really think about it, it only really affected the first world countries. I was surprised that when it hit, the third world countries in Africa, Philippines, Southeast Asia, it didn't have a detrimental effect on their population. But the populations that had a massive effect on America, Europe, US, all those first world countries.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah.
Kind of thing. But I mean, it's also, I don't know, it feels like it's almost the world saying, fuck you, you're killing me, I'm going to kill you back. All this global warming stuff. We have so many people. Overpopulation is a real issue, and it's huge. The industrialization of cities and everything like that's massive.
Yeah. I mean, do I think it's a way for population control? No. I feel like with nuclear power nowadays and stuff like that, it's much easier to control a population. I'm being serious. At a click of a button, many countries have that power to just
kill 350 million people.
Yeah, exactly. And as stupid as it sounds, it's actually true. I mean, we had in the Cold War, you know what I mean? It was quite literally a Cold War, but it was two military powerhouses in the 80s, up to the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had Hiroshima and Nagasaki, both turned to ash, atomic bombs.
Yeah. It's actually, I was going to say Chernobyl, but that wasn't actually that was just an accidental disaster, I guess, with radiation. Yeah. That's a whole nother topic, Chernobyl. In my personal eyes, I mean, obviously it's a very relevant topic with COVID and everything, it's a bit, people don't know what to believe because there's so much information. And as I said, Rowan and I were saying, it's hard when, politicians are always changing the goalposts with rules and regulations. To me, I just take the facts and I look at the science behind it all.
I think that Pat and I, we're guys who obviously do have a balanced opinion, hear both sides of the story. But I know that for me, I love hearing the facts, the straight, cold, hard scientific facts to base my opinion off something. And I was listening to a guy, and he was talking about how last year in Australia, with the flu influenza, we had 300,000 cases and about 1,258 deaths, I'm pretty sure. And there was nothing about the country being locked down or vaccines being handed out and people being stuck in home, borders closing, everything like that. There was nothing like that. But now with coronavirus, we've had, well, I think about 30,000 to 50,000 COVID cases with it's around 900 deaths? I think it's around 900
I'm not exactly
deaths.
sure of the figures, but yeah.
I think it's around 900 deaths, like Australia-wide, with only 30 to 50,000 cases of coronavirus. And they've just shutting down the whole country. And I understand it because you don't want it to spread, but the Delta variant, it's more contagious, but it's less harmful.
I don't know. I swear I heard it's like that they thought it was less harmful, but now it's like just as harmful. But I think with these things, like you got to compare as well, like with influenza and stuff like that, and how many people that kills every year. It's interesting. And also, to me, what's interesting as well is how countries that have opened up with a 70-80% vaccination rate still getting fucked by COVID as well. They're getting more cases, more deaths every day. But I see what Australia is doing at the moment because our vaccination rate of people
is so low.
Is like 25%.
Yeah,
so exactly. I understand it can spread quicker. But again, like this is a whole different topic. If we were to actually talk about population control.
Yeah, no.
To you, is it a bit bullshit?
Yes, I don't think it was made or created for population control. You know, it's a bit ridiculous, to be honest. I don't think population control, like if it's like maybe in North Korea with Kim Jong-un or in China with the communist regime, it might be population control. But no, in a domestic diplomatic country like Australia, it's not going to be used for population control. We're not really overpopulated compared to other countries in the world.
Well, if this was created by Bill Gates in a lab or whatever for population control, mate, you've done a fucking awful job because, like, I mean, no offense, but I mean, I know a lot of people have died, but like, and obviously that's incredibly sad. But no, the main thing I think what's fucked it is the economy. It's absolutely ruined, like, you know what I mean?
Ruined small businesses,
and people's mental health. I feel like that's it's I mean, it's
and I mean that's the thing, you know, it's had such a detrimental effect on the economy, right?
Yeah.
But then, hello government, where are you getting the money to fork out, you know, $750 a week for people missing work? Oh, from us, the taxpayers, you know, where are you getting the money for the test? I read somewhere that each COVID test costs $200. You know, when there's been over 200,000 COVID tests, that's $1.4 billion. You know, where's the government getting $1.4 billion for? Where's it getting enough to, you know, subsidize the small businesses and medium businesses who have closed? You know, it's ruined the economy, and we're already in debt, and we're just digging ourselves a deeper hole.
Yeah. Well, I guess with these things, time will tell, right? But for me, population control, true or bullshit?
Stinker.
It's a stinker.
It's a stinker.
All right, we're on to our second conspiracy theory. I want to talk about aliens, specifically Area 51. It's an interesting one. You know, we've had things like the Roswell incident, and apparently we are hiding these aliens in Area 51, and we were trying to go see them aliens like a couple years ago, remember? And people were all going to go storm into the gates. Is ET actually real? To me, though, I think there is a little bit more of a method behind the madness with all this sort of stuff. I do think that, statistically speaking, there's another life form out there. Is it in the way how we have interpreted it through modern day TV and movies, like, you know, with the classic big head, big eyes and all that stuff, sort of alien? I'm not entirely
Probably
sure.
Not.
But you know, there has been images out there. I'm sure we can chuck them up of you know,
UFO sightings, you know,
aliens and stuff like
everything.
that. Yeah.
100%. And I mean, it's one of those things for me. I know I've had in-depth conversation with one of my best friends, Anthony Minaj. Check out episode 2 of the podcast. Episode 2. That's it. So I've had in-depth conversations because both Anthony and I love space and love talking about all this stuff. And I think we both think that Area 51 is, everyone knows about it. It's such a massive thing and everyone thinks that's the place. But Anthony and I think that Area 51 is like the facade for another place that's somewhere around the world. Could be in America, somewhere else. But Area 51's like, it's like the door, right? So everyone sees a door, everyone knows what it is, but no one can open it, you know? And what's behind that door? I think there's a secret facility that nobody knows about that actually has the real stuff.
Fuck. We are changing everything now.
Well, I mean, like, if you think about it, you know, Area 51, when it first came out, no one knew about it. And then it's turned into a tourist attraction. You know, people are allowed to go into Area 51 once every, like, 4 years. There's, like, a massive waiting list to go inside Area 51 and all that kind of stuff. You know, so it's turned into just, like, a tourist thing. I know when I went to America, around Area 51, you know, there are hotels that sell this Area 51 gear, all this alien stuff. You know, so I think it's such like a tourist attraction now. Everybody knows about Area 51, that there's no way they could be hiding, you know, what they're hiding there. So I think Area 51 is a facade for a secret facility. Could be Area 52 is what they call it. No, who knows? But I reckon there is another place where everything's actually kept. That's not Area 51.
Yeah, my thoughts on it. Well, there has been that whistleblower that came out who apparently used to work there. And Bob Lazar, that's it, right? I have seen one podcast with him. I saw it a while ago, so I can't necessarily like remember the ins and outs of what he was saying. But essentially, like, there's sketchy stuff going on there, and I swear he was talking about how he saw an alien or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the government is definitely hiding evidence. I believe that we do have aliens and we do have alien crafts that we definitely have in our hands, but the governments and these big buy-in businesses keep it on the down low, keep it hushed, because you know people are scared. You know, people are scared of aliens. You know, people are scared of what they could do.
That's the thing. Is the government trying to protect us and prevent us from going into like a world scare pandemic, or is the government actually trying to hide stuff that is vital information to us humans?
I think that the people need to know. You know, like society needs clarity, because, well, like what with TV and movies and everything. Well, it's depicted aliens as, you know, they just want to commit genocide on Earth, blow up the Earth and kill everybody in its path. Well, we don't actually know that, because that's just what TV and movies depict aliens are, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, like, who knows? Maybe we already have aliens on Earth, but you know, they're shape-shifting. Yeah. They turn into humans like us, and we have no idea. Yeah. Or that, we don't know. And I know that when I watched the Bob Lazar documentary, and he was talking about, you know, how a spaceship flies through gravity, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have the elements on Earth to understand how that works. Mm-hmm. And so Bob Lazar, his whole part of being in Area 51 or another site that he was involved in, he was told, work out how this machine flies and try and create it. Obviously we can't, right? Because we only understand 3 dimensions as a humanity, whereas these other civilizations, they have more than just those 3 dimensions. They have the 4th or the 5th or the 6th dimension, which makes them be able to do that. And that's how a spaceship flies, right? So, like, I'll give the example how it flies. So, say you put a bowling ball on your bed, right? Mm-hmm. The bowling ball is going to create a dent in your bed like that, right?
Yep.
With the surrounding mattress, you know, like normal, but there's going to be a dent in the middle here, right? That's
the weight, the force.
Yeah, it creates a dip in gravity, right? And so when a UFO or alien spacecraft wants to move, it creates its own fluctuation in the gravity in front of it to be able to move wherever it wants at whatever speed it wants. Mm-hmm. And we don't have the capacity to do that, because we only have 3 dimensions and we don't know every element about how to create our own gravitational field.
Do aliens have the ability to manipulate their own gravitational field on Earth?
Yes. If they can manipulate gravity in space, and they can manipulate any type of force gravity, whether that be repulsive or attractive force, they can they can do that anywhere. If they
Yeah.
can do it in space, they can do it anywhere.
Wasn't there that video that came out? There was like this thing in the sky, and I swear it like went underwater, and it was like moving and like crazy, like doing all these weird things and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we don't know if that's legit or not. The next thing that I kind of want to touch on is like when we do see these images or leaked footage of alien life or UFOs, why are they all filmed on like Nokia bricks? Because like it's interesting how that's what we see, but I feel like the military or something could be hiding something that is of greater quality and reveals more evidence.
Oh, 100%. The military have, I genuinely think that they have spacecrafts, right? They do. But because with the leaked footage and everything, we only get that bad quality because people are trying to zoom in so far onto it. And it doesn't matter what iPhone camera you use. If you zoom in so much, it's going to be grainy. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's at nighttime usually, or sunset, or during the day. It's so grainy, you know, and so that's the leaked footage we see because the government doesn't want to scare us.
Yeah.
You know, with all this alien stuff and et cetera, et cetera.
So to conclude, do you think this is a bullshit conspiracy theory that, let's say, the government is hiding aliens from us?
No, I think it's real. It's definitely real.
To me,
they're definitely hiding. They're definitely hiding spacecraft and alien intelligence from the people because it would turn into a scare pandemic.
Yeah, I honestly agree. I think that there is definitely 100% another life form out there, but I feel like there's something that we don't know. And for sure, there's something that I'm sure is being hidden. Maybe not where exactly we think it is, but there's probably something behind closed doors going on.
Oh, 110%. It is.
Yeah.
I just, from everything I've seen and talked about, there is.
Yeah. So compared to population control with COVID, does this compare very differently on a scale?
Right now, this is number one.
Yeah.
This is the most real and, you know, truthful, I think, out of the two we've done. So I'm going the aliens. I'm believing two blank because population control is just.
And the last one, I remember you were telling me about this one. So what are you saying?
The last one
about the universe, Big Bang.
Oh yeah, okay. So, it might not be a conspiracy theory, but I think it always plays on my mind, and I've watched so many videos about it. But do you think that the Big Bang was the start of everything?
I have no fucking clue. That's my honest answer because I'm not a scientist.
Well, I mean, not looking at it from a scientific perspective.
Okay.
What do you think? Like, what's your belief about? Do you think the Big Bang started the universe, or do you think God did it, or do you think?
Well,
like, what do you think?
Well, I mean, this is where we do get very opinionated, right? So I want to just establish this before, like, there's no right or wrong necessarily because nothing's actually been proven yet. If I was to be a firm believer in God, I would say the world was made in 7 days, right? I'm Christian, but I don't think that's true. You know, I believe in certain things to do with Christianity, but I feel like in terms of how the universe is made standpoint, there's a level of science behind it. I feel like that to me takes priority. If we're talking about life after death and everything, we can talk about gods, and we'll all have a different belief on that as well, obviously. But in terms of how the universe was created, a Big Bang to me seems like a fairly viable option.
Yeah.
But there's also many other possibilities, I guess. You know, we could be here endlessly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think one of my theories, and from like all these things I've watched and videos and podcasts and articles I've read, I think that it can be very hard to believe that, you know, everything that we know in the whole universe, there'll be distant galaxies, the Milky Way, even Earth, the sun, everything like that. Mm-hmm. It can be very hard to believe that all of that was created from one piece of repulsive gravity exploding together. You know, so I'll make it a bit simpler. So when I talk about repulsive gravity, right, it was one of Albert Einstein's theories. And so we know that the universe is expanding at an ever-quickening speed, right? And with gravity, the gravity that we know is attractive gravity, right? So if you throw an apple up into the air, the higher it goes, the slower it's going to go into the air because gravity is going to pull it down.
Pull it down, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that's attractive
And
gravity.
its velocity will increase as it
That's right.
Yeah.
So if we talk about the universe being expanding ever so quickly at a rate that, we don't actually know, if people thought that the universe was on a rubber band, right, you can pull it, but it gets to a certain point that it has to retract, right? With the scientist's discovery, I think it was in 1978, about repulsive gravity,
Yeah.
it actually pushes out. So it keeps pushing, and that's the only reason that the universe is actually expanding, right? Because of this repulsive gravity keeps pushing everything away from each other. And so when I talk about the Big Bang, the atoms that are used, they're so small, you can't see them at all. And to think that something so small exploded and created the observable universe it's a bit insane to think about,
I just don't understand. So how does the actual universe itself come into fruition? Because the thought of nothing is impossible, right?
So as humans, our understanding of nothing is still something. So when you think of nothing, what do you think of?
Black. But that's still something, right?
Exactly. So our understanding of nothing is still something. So humans, we actually can't comprehend what nothing is. It's not in our nature. We can't think that far ahead, right? So when the universe was, if we're going to talk about if the Big Bang Theory created everything, right? If we're going to look at it from that standpoint, there was still something in the universe. There was still all these particles and molecules and atoms all scattering around all over the place, right? But at a certain point, two of them collided and created the observable universe, everything we know right now. That's the science behind it, right? So two of these pieces of atoms or particles, whatever you want to call them, would have collided and met at a certain point to explode and create everything we know in the observable universe. It's a bit mad to think that things that we can't even see in a microscope can create everything we've ever known and ever seen in our whole universe, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit mad, but one of the theories I was going on to explain is that maybe the Big Bang was one of many other Big Bangs that happened before it. So maybe our Big Bang was what started our observable universe.
Is that called the multiverse theory?
Yeah, so that kind of goes into the multiverse theory and
brother, I can't deal with this. I cannot.
I've done my research.
My brain cannot conceptualize this at all. I don't know. I cannot believe anything because I don't know.
I might sound like a bit of a nerd at the moment, but I've listened to so many podcasts, videos, documentaries, podcasts, everything.
You're just relaying information, bro. I love it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I'm relaying it, but I've also formed my own opinion. Form your own opinion. Right? So
this is our opinion, guys. Okay.
That's it.
You don't have to listen to us. All right. But
no, these are just our opinions and theories of what we think.
Yeah.
But with the multiverse theory.
Yeah.
Think about this. So it's a rainy day, right?
Okay.
And we pause time. We stop time. And when you go outside, you can see a million different raindrops everywhere in the sky, right?
Yep.
The multiverse theory is that our observable universe is just one of those raindrops. And all the other raindrops are their own universe and systems and galaxies and have their own stars and everything like that. But we only know our observable universe because we haven't been further than that. And we have no idea what else is out there. But the multiverse theory, it's pretty believable, to be honest. To think that we only know our certain universe, but there has to be other stuff out there. It can't just be the center. We can't be the center of the whole universe because we're not. If you really think about it, we are literally nothing. We are so insignificant. But
words of motivation.
In the grand scheme of things, we're so insignificant to think that we're the center of the universe. But with this with this multi-universe thing, it's very believable. I kind of believe it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of those guys who like never really understood science. I love it, but it's so, that's the thing. Science is so complicated. There's so many different possibilities that we're talking about that to me, this isn't science anymore. It's just, what could it be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. We know we have science over things like, you know, science creates vaccines, science makes us understand the world around us for sure. But these things, like, we have theories, but we don't have actual knowledge. And to me that just fucks my brain, because I you know, there's so many different possibilities, multiverses, you know, all these things that I don't really know what to believe. Do I think it's a possibility? Yeah, for sure. 100%. I think that, you know, there could be millions and millions and millions, infinite other universes out there, but how am I ever going to know, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. If we're talking about the creation of everything, that's where this thing called string theory, I don't know if you know much about it.
Brother, how much research have you done?
Mate, years in the making. But like if we're talking about, I'll just use Earth as an example, right?
Yep.
So string theory, I'll put it in simple terms, right? So say you have an apple, you know, you have an apple and you cut it, and you cut it again, and you keep cutting that apple until you need a microscope to look at it, right?
Yeah.
And the first layer you will see are molecules, you know. You cut that again. Second layer, what are you going to see after the molecules? You're going to see particles. And what's after the particles? We have one of the smallest things that we know as humans, atoms. And atoms are what create up everything. You and I were just forms of atoms and particles. You know, this painting behind me is atoms and particles. That mirror, atoms and particles. Everything we know of are atoms and particles, right? But then this thing called string theory, right, is something that we can't see. So it's still a theory, but it's a very believable theory backed up by evidence and science, right? But if there was an experiment that happened, I think, 1998, where they put two atoms together at such a speed where it exploded, right, into these tiny, tiny little things. I can't remember what they're called, but these tiny, tiny little things.
I think I heard this one. Yeah,
smaller than atoms, right? But the pretty much the theory behind it is if you keep cutting, that inside of these tiny, tiny little pieces of particles, you're going to find how do I say, like a little piece of string, right? And that piece of string is constantly vibrating and constantly changing, kind of like a guitar. When you strum a guitar with no chords, it's going to sound, and you'll see the strings vibrate. But if you strum it with a chord, it's going to sound different, have a different vibration. And so when it comes to the creation of everything, what makes an apple? Well, the vibration of this string inside these particles is what makes it an apple. What makes up you and me? Well, the vibration of what the string inside these tiny, tiny particles are, thousands or millions or billions of them, is what makes up you and I. What makes up those flowers behind me? Well, the vibration of these certain strings. And so if we talk about the creation of everything, it comes down to the different vibrations of these little strings. And so that's the essence of string theory and how it creates everything that we know. Because to be honest, it's just factual. We're just a temporary formation of atoms and particles, and then we go back into the earth, which are atoms and particles. We're just temporary structures in the grand scheme of things. Everything we know and everything we see, you might not think of it that way. You know, my phone, particles, atoms, particles. You know, just if you think about it in yummy terms, everything we know is everything we know is M&M and Skittles, right? But then when we eat them, they go. You know, if I'm looking at back, we're all made up of these little tiny circles and particles, and when we die, they all go. That's going to be the end of my TED talk, guys. Thanks for listening.
Holy shit, dude. So we were just talking about, what was the first conspiracy? Was it the Big Bang Theory? And we just started talking about fucking string theory.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we can leave quantum physics out for another day.
Okay, Rowan, the man who struggled in his HSC, is now talking about quantum physics. Look at him go. Oh my days.
Shout out to Mr. Thompson and all my science teachers.
Oh,
I know
bro,
I was a
Mr.
I was a shit-
Thompson, what a guy, man.
I know, that's it.
What a guy. We're in our year
But
10,
I-
10 science class together.
That's it. That's it. But I could talk about this forever, dude. I love it. It's so interesting. But yeah, we can end it off there. But all right, go. If you were to order all three of those conspiracy theories, what are you doing them?
Aliens, universe, COVID.
Yeah, I'm the exact same as you
Yeah.
because I think universe, there's an infinite amount of possibilities that we don't know of.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens, there's a lot of evidence, a lot of witnesses, a lot of things that prove it's right.
Yeah.
And overpopulation is just a bit redonkulous.
Ridiculous. Diverticulitis. A little bit stupid.
No, it is. I think.
Yeah. But let us know what you guys think in the comments.
Yeah, and if you guys want us to talk about any conspiracy theories, could even be the pyramids.
Yeah. There's so much.
Pyramids are a massive one, dude. Holy shit.
Holy shit. Our aim for this podcast is to do a Wednesday midweek, just us two, and a Sunday with a guest. So let us know what you guys think if you want to see us do more of these kind of Q&As and us talk about conspiracies or any sort of controversial topics, because, we love talking about it. We do.
Yeah, Pat and I, we love doing that. I mean, I had a blast diving in depth into all the information. It's like one of the first times I've been able to talk about it to someone who...
Yes.
Well, it's almost like I'm teaching you, Pat.
You are.
No, it's so interesting. Pat and I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, Pat and I think, when I'm driving in the car, maybe we should record some of our car conversations and put them into the podcast.
I
Because
swear.
Pat and I have some of the most eye-opening chats in the car.
Yeah. And that's what we kind of just want this to be, is if we do a midweek episode, just Rowan and I just talk, because like it's crazy, like when conversations, like where they go and what you end up talking about, it's kind of like you keep digging and digging deeper into, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly right, man.
So we love these sort of conversations. We hope you guys do as well.
Yeah. So guys, just let us know. DM us, send us an email, talk to us on Snapchat as well. Let us know if you enjoyed this episode and if you want to see more of us doing midweek episodes like this, where you guys ask us some questions or talk about conspiracy theories and just kind of have a chill time, have a good time.
100%. We love it. This has been the Taking It Easy podcast, guys. Thank you all for watching.
Yep. Thank you. Take care and peace. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys. Bye.